Hey guys, Zomfox here. And today we're going to be doing the third and final part of my review of the USFL Top 50 Players of 2022. The list voted by coaches, players, media, yada yada yada. So, top right, eye icon, click that if you want to see what my thoughts for the top 10 were back about a month ago. Most of those guys, well, all of them are on here, but not in the top 10. I have a couple opinions on there that are better talked about in that video than this one. So, just as an FYI. So, without further ado, let's get started on the list. Number 10, we have Will Likely, corner for the Houston Gamblers. Then we have Reggie Corbin, running back of the Panthers at 9. Quarterback of the Stars, Case Cookus at 8. And then we have linebacker DeMarcus Gates at 7. 6, we have another linebacker, this time Gamblers, Donald Payne. Then we have corner Channing Stribling at 5. At number 4, we have Stallions, Victor Bolden Jr., returner and receiver. Darius Victor, running back at number 3 for the Generals. Chris Odom, edge rusher for the Houston Gamblers at 2. And league MVP, Kvontae Turpin, receiver / returner at number 1. So, quick mention, the Breakers, Maulers, and Bandits all failed to have even a single player in the top 10. The Gamblers led all teams with 3. Panthers had 1. Stars had 2. Generals had 2. And the Stallions had 2. So, overall, pretty mixed bag on who made top 10 in terms of teams. First guy to mention are the two guys that were not in my top 10, with the first being Will Likely. He was very close to being on my list. The fact is, he was a very, very, very versatile cornerback. Now, pending how you view the cornerback position, can view that purely based on stats that he was either not good, great, or whatever. There's an argument that having tackles as a cornerback is bad because it means you usually get burnt, but it also could mean you're helping out in sort of a safety hybrid position. But what's important to know with him, he's the third most tackles among players with at least 2 interceptions. There was a multitude of players who had that, but he was the highest of all the guys who had at least 3 picks, and of all the guys who had 2 or more, he was third. He was actually 6th in total solo tackles versus his 11th spot in tackles, so he's very great at getting people down by himself, and he was third in interceptions. Very solid player, was one of the 2 cornerbacks in the All-USFL team, naturally with the other Channing Stribling on this list. Number 9 was Reggie Corbin. He was the other guy I didn't have. Hindsight, I should have. I think I kind of I was valuing a bit too much the fumble aspect of why I had Ellis in there instead. But overall, Corbin was a very, very, very awesome player. In only 8 games, he managed to be 4th in rushing yards, and if he had played a full season, according to rushing yards per game, he would have been the league leader as he was 1st in rushing yards per game. And in terms of rush yards per attempt, or yards per rush, he was 2nd among all running backs and 4th overall, as naturally quarterbacks that are mobile usually have that advantage. But he was an overall solid player. He did fumble twice, but he didn't lose any. He did have the longest touchdown or longest rush in the entire league at 88 yards. Very, very, very solid player on a team that was not so solid. He also had 50 receiving yards and almost 300 kick return yards, which is top 10. So, now we get into the the main thing I want to talk about. The Gamblers had 3 guys in the top 10. Okay? They had 3 separate players in the top 10, despite finishing 3-7, and which is good enough for the 3rd overall pick. It shows just how insane football can be, because this is something that happened in any football league. You had, I believe, the best player in the whole league in Chris Odom. You had who the players and all them voted as the best linebacker in the league in Donald Payne, and the 2nd best corner and 2nd best defensive back in the league in Will Likely III. You had a lot of other guys that are really solid too, but these 3 guys were all top 10 according to this list, all unanimous selections, and they finished 3-7. Oh, what having an injured running back, not so great clutch time can do to you. Pretty whack. But overall, there's not really too much to say on this one, since there's only a few. Though, naturally, Darius Victor, I don't think should have been ahead of Victor Bolden. That's the main one I think that would be better explained in my other video, same with Stribling being as high as they are. I think that Stribling and Victor only should go down 1 spot, but Stribling I think was a bit too high. Even though his interceptions are great, in theory, in a full season, he would have had a double-digit season. I still think that the 2 linebackers probably would have been a bit better. But yeah, overall, I like the fact that USL did do this. I hope they continue to do this every year. I like the idea of only having 50 players, but I hope that, some guys that are clearly better than others make the list, like Chris Rowland, who really seemed to only make it because he's the guy that, said, hey, let's do this. But we'll see. This has been Zomfox. If you enjoy this content, let me know if I upload any videos. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell. And as always, have a great night.